So a warm welcome to legendary swimmer, one of our greatest ever athletes, Sharron Davis. Hello, Sharron.
Oh, Kevin, thank you very much. Good evening to you too.
Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, I want you to bear with me. I know you've already watched this video, but I'm going to play the whole thing. This, I think, is a breathtaking statement about trans culture by the new president-elect, Donald Trump. Whatever you think about Donald Trump, whether you like his policies or not, you've got to watch this. I think this is astonishing. So let's watch. It goes on for about 3 minutes, and then we'll come back to Sharron and get her take. So take it away, Donald Trump.
Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end.
Well, Sharron, I don't know about you, but I just thought that was, as I said, breathtaking. And oh, my God, I wish we could have someone say something like this over here. I mean, this is going to bring about a cultural sea change in America. And certainly for you, you must be thrilled about what he was saying about, you know, trans women or taking part in female sports. And just generally, I thought it was a triumph for common sense. Thank God.
Yeah, common sense. Common sense has been not so common, has it, for quite a long time? And that's what's really good to see. I think also just transparency. You know, he talked about studies that have been suppressed that show actually that transing young children is not a positive outcome. And those have been deliberately suppressed, and we know about that. So I think it's this transparency, this honesty of facts, statistics, information, not telling young children, you know, vulnerable children, often autistic children or gay children or children that have been abused, that by changing their gender, all of their problems are going to go away, which is not going to happen. And also that human beings cannot change their sex. You know, no matter what your biological sex is, when you are born, that is the sex that you will remain for the rest of your life. It's in every single cell in your body. So we're lying to these children rather than actually helping them. So what you do as an adult, you know, when you're fully informed, that's totally and utterly up to you. But as children that need to go through puberty and come out the other side, again, statistics show us that well over 80%, closer to 90% of all children that have gender dysphoria, that is a confusion about biology and how they see themselves, a dysphoria with the part of their body, they grow out of that and just become, in most cases, just gay adults. Yeah. So there's that, you know, which obviously I've had to understand because I've been talking so much about sport. But yes, I mean, he talked about Title IX. Title IX came in 1972, and it was there to protect sex-based discrimination so that in colleges and in schools, women had equal access to sport, basically. You know, we don't have anywhere near equal access, you know, Kevin. We have less than 5% of the sponsorship dollar comes to women. Less than 5% of the primetime airtime comes to women. You know, we earn an absolute fraction of what goes to men's sport. And then for many years, over the last 10 years now, since 2015, when the IOC changed the rules, women were told we weren't even entitled to that anymore. And so that it really did break my heart against all of the science. Not a single peer-reviewed piece of science in the world showed us we could remove male puberty advantage. And yet this has been allowed to happen. Exactly. You know, and in this country, the FA have been disgraceful. We've got a case at the moment of a young 17-year-old autistic girl that's been basically banned for six games because she asked if a bearded male on the opposite team was a man.
I know. I covered that story.
It's just madness.
Yeah, we did that story with Rennie Hoendekamp last week, and she was equally outraged. This apparently was a 17-year-old female footballer playing in a sort of quite a good standard of FA female football, as you say, and standing across the pitch on the other side was basically a bloke, you know, with a beard, but, you know, identifying as a woman. This 17-year-old apparently was on the spectrum and, you know, was sort of literal-minded, and so would I be under the same circumstances, come to think of it. And she just turned to this bloke and said, "Are you a man?" And for that, she's banned from 6 games. Now, that I think is
very traumatised about it as well. You know, it's outrageous, really, because what people don't understand is not only is it unfair, and we all know that, because that's why we have men and women's sport to start with, it's also incredibly dangerous. You know, that increases the risk of injury for that girl playing against a male player. And women already have much higher levels of knee injuries, 6 times as many knee injuries as males do in football. So now that person's not even allowed to ask if she's going to be playing someone that's going to increase her risk of injury. I mean, it's incredible. We've got 75 that we know of, males that are identifying in the women's FA league. We have no men, no women that are identifying as men doing the opposite. So it's only women that are losing out all of the time. This does not affect men's sport at all. It's just women that are losing out. And I don't understand. And it was good today because David Tuseman, who was chairman of the FA in 2008 and 2010, he's in the House of Lords, he spoke today about how unfair this was. And actually, he got a round of applause. So I do think that we are beginning to wake up. But I don't understand how these big sporting organisations have been captured this way, to have just, you know, lost all champion of women's sport, all ability to look at the science, all ability to look at the common sense, or even all the ability to listen to their members. Because whenever we poll members, they always come back and say we want fair and safe sport for our women.
Exactly, and what Donald Trump is speaking up for, and what he's saying is that he will. You said, you know, turning to somebody who identifies as a woman with a beard and saying, "Are you a man? I'm not sure I want to play football against you." This is the madness of which Donald Trump spoke, and this is the madness that he is not only going to stamp out, he's going to make it illegal. And frankly, I wish we could see that here, because, you know, people like you, especially you've worked very hard on this, and so have the wonderful women at Sex Matters, and all legions of common sense people have been trying so hard for so long to just say, this is insane, this is wrong, this isn't fair. And yet, as you just said, Sharron, the FA, the various sports, the Olympic, the International Olympic Committee.
Well, look at the boxing. I mean, look at the boxing at the the Olympic Games this summer.
They carry on, don't they? They just carry on.
Incredible. Yeah, and they knew. You know, they have had those the results from those sex tests a year before the Olympic Games. They knew that they were sending men in to box females. I mean, to me, that is criminal negligence, and I do hope that they're held responsible when eventually, you know, we're allowed to be able to talk the truth. I hope very much that Seb Coe comes in charge of the IOC. They'll probably do everything they can to stop him, because the IOC is all about the members and not about the sport, sadly. But the Olympics are in LA, which will be very interesting, and that will be before the end of the term of Donald Trump. So, you know, maybe he'll be able to put some pressure on the Olympics because he'll still be there.
Yeah, frankly, I mean, I don't like sort of rules, regulations and laws and all that. But as I was just saying, that given that you and all your fellow campaigners have worked so hard on this, and given that you all speak common sense, you know, a guy with a beard is not a female footballer, etc. Perhaps we do need someone like Donald Trump to say, right, if you won't listen to common sense, I will make it illegal. I will make it a matter of law. I wish we could have that in this country.
You know, the sad truth it was, Kevin, though, in America, they did have this Title IX, and it did use the word sex. The first thing that Biden did when he got in was to change that word from sex to gender. So instantly, in a sweep of his pen, he took away all the discrimination laws that were in place to look after those female athletes through college and you know, school sport. So it is quite heartbreaking, really, that we were so unimportant to these people that, you know, our rights just absolutely disappeared. There is a protest this weekend on Sunday. I know that Jean and all the guys at 1205 on Twitter, you'll find them. They'll be able to tell you to be there. But, you know, if you want to go and shout at the FA on Sunday, please do, because we need to start standing up and just saying, not in our name, not for our little girls. We want our little girls to have their opportunities. You know, they've fought tooth and nail for them. They don't have anywhere near as many as the little boys do. You cannot take it away from them. So please stand up and have a voice now, because I think that we're all getting a little bit braver. And I think last week showed that actually we've got to stop staying silent.
And the other aspect of Trump's impressive speech there that I liked was when he said that he's going to go after doctors, pharma companies and those adults who have basically cashed in on confused kids. Kids who at the age of 8, 9, 10 say, oh, I think I might be in the wrong body. Oh, yeah, here's some expensive drugs. Oh, let me give you some expensive surgery. And he's going to go after those people, and I think they deserve it. And again, I'd love to see that in this country too. However, I'm not...
That's very important, very important. And also, you've got to remember, you know, this is so regressive, because we fought for decades to get away from stereotypes. Because this isn't about anything other than a stereotype. You know, what we see middle-aged men dressing up as is hookers in high heels and red stockings with, you know, long blonde wigs. It's not in your jeans going out doing your gardening.
It's like a caricature of women, isn't it?
It's a caricature. Exactly. It's regressive, old-fashioned stereotypes, and we've worked so hard to get away from those. I believe everyone should be able to do sport. I would fight tooth and nail for everyone's right to be able to do sport. It just needs to be fair and safe first and foremost. And we need to say to kids, you can be anything you want. You can be as unique as you want. You can dress, you can call yourself whatever you like. You know, be as effeminate or as masculine as you want. However, kids, it won't change your biological sex, because you're going to be stuck with that. And if we do try and change it, we're going to end up just creating patients for life out of perfectly healthy kids. And that, to me, is criminal.